In this video, we'll be taking a look at 5 MLB games happening on August 1st, 2025, and providing you with free team picks and total picks for each one of those games, so 10 picks in total. Welcome back to Cash Out Sports. Let's dive right into it. Oh, and don't forget to subscribe and to click the bell icon to get notified as soon as these videos get released, so that you have more time to plan out your bets as we provide these videos on a daily basis. I can guarantee that you'll have all the important information that you'll need on these 5 MLB games after fully watching this video. One more thing before we start: if you would like to gain access to our best exclusive sports picks to take your journey to the next level, then check out our Patreon in the link down below, where we offer our best single picks, parlay picks, and much more. Now let's get started. Baltimore Orioles versus Chicago Cubs. The Baltimore Orioles and Chicago Cubs are kicking off a 3-game interleague series at Wrigley Field this Friday afternoon, and it's shaping up to be an interesting matchup. The Orioles just dropped a close one to the Toronto Blue Jays, losing 9-8 on Wednesday, which put an end to their nice little 5-game winning streak. Right now, Baltimore's sitting 13.5 games back from the top spot in the American League East, so they've got some ground to make up. On the flip side, the Cubs bounced back strong with a 10-3 win over the Milwaukee Brewers on Wednesday, breaking a short 2-game slide. Chicago's just 1 game behind first-place Milwaukee in the National League Central, keeping things tight in that division. The Cubs have been handling teams from the American League East pretty well lately, grabbing wins in 4 of their last 5 games against them. Both squads are sending out starters who've been solid recently, but Chicago's got a real edge when it comes to the bullpen. Their relievers are posting a 3.86 earned run average, which looks a lot better than Baltimore's 4.88. On the mound for the Orioles, Trevor Rogers has been steady in his past 5 starts, giving up only 15 hits and 5 runs over 31.2 innings, and his team pulled out victories in 4 of those games. But Chicago's Cade Horton has been sharp too, especially in 3 of his last 4 starts, where he allowed just 4 runs total across 23.2 innings. All those runs came in one rough outing, while he shut out opponents in the other 3. Plus, the Cubs are really clicking offensively right now, leading the league in runs scored, sitting 2nd in slugging percentage, 3rd in batting average, and 5th in on-base percentage, which gives them a ton of firepower. As our first pick for this matchup, the Chicago Cubs money line is our full game side pick. Both these lineups have been clutch when it matters most, putting up solid numbers with runners in scoring position. Baltimore ranks 10th across the majors with a .756 team OPS in those spots, while Chicago's even better at 2nd overall with a .803 OPS. Heading into this game, their pitching staffs have hit some bumps in July, with the Orioles ranking 24th in team earned run average at 4.79 and the Cubs at 17th with a 4.31, so neither side's been lights out on the mound lately. As our second pick for this matchup, over the projected total is our full game total pick. Milwaukee Brewers versus Washington Nationals. The Milwaukee Brewers are heading to the nation's capital to kick off a 3-game series against their National League rivals, the Washington Nationals, with the first pitch set for Friday night. It's always exciting when these teams square off on the diamond, and this matchup has some history behind it already this season. The Brewers just wrapped up a solid series at home against the Cubs in the National League Central, winning 2 out of 3 even though they got roughed up 10-3 in the finale on Wednesday afternoon. Meanwhile, the Nationals had a tough time on the road against Houston, dropping 2 of 3 with a 9-1 loss in their last game on Wednesday. Earlier this year, when these two teams met for the first time, Milwaukee dominated with a clean 3-game sweep at their place from July 11th to July 13th. So the Brewers definitely have that edge in recent memory. Milwaukee's rolling into this game fresh off that big series victory against the Cubs, which has them clinging to a narrow lead atop the National League Central standings. They've been decent away from home with a 28-24 record on the road so far this season, while the Nationals have struggled big time in their own ballpark, sitting at just 21-31 at home. Washington's pitching has been one of the weakest in the league overall, and they're trotting out Parker as their starter, who's been all over the place with inconsistency this year. On the other side, the Brewers are sending Quintana to the mound, and he's been fairly reliable lately, giving up 2, 4, 1, and 3 earned runs across his past 4 starts. To me, the starting pitching looks pretty balanced on paper, but I wouldn't put any faith in the Nationals' bullpen. It's been a mess, and that could be the difference here. As our first pick for this matchup, the Milwaukee Brewers money line is our full game side pick. When it comes to totals this season, Milwaukee has leaned toward the under, going 58 to 47 to 3 in their 108 games heading into Friday, meaning they've seen lower scoring affairs more often than not. Offensively, the Brewers rank 7th in the majors for runs per game at 4.79 overall, and they really ramp it up on the road, averaging 5.40 runs away from home. Their games have averaged 8.69 total runs this year, but that jumps up to 9.59 when they're playing on the road at places like American Family Field. Wait, away from it, I mean. Turning to Washington, they've hit the over in 56 of their 108 games so far, with 4 pushes thrown in there. The Nationals sit 19th in the big leagues with 4.29 runs per game on average, but that dips even lower to 3.96 when they're hosting at home. Overall, their contests have averaged 9.59 total runs, holding steady around 9.5 per game in front of the home crowd this season. Now, with Washington having traded away some key pitchers recently, it opens the door for Milwaukee's bats to take full advantage and drive up the score, making this a prime spot for things to go over the line. As our second pick for this matchup, over the projected total is our full game total pick. Detroit Tigers versus Philadelphia Phillies. The Detroit Tigers are squaring off against the Philadelphia Phillies in some MLB action at Citizens Bank Park this Friday, and it's bound to be a competitive tilt between these two squads. I can see why someone might think about grabbing the Tigers at plus money as underdogs, but let's be real, Jack Flaherty hasn't exactly been lights out lately, and the Tigers have only managed to win about 33% of his 21 starts this season, which isn't inspiring much confidence. On the other side, the Phillies are rolling out Ranger Suarez, a lefty who's been holding his own, and I'm just not convinced the Tigers lineup is going to handle him well, especially since they've shown some vulnerabilities against southpaws. Plus, that Tiger bullpen has been shaky at best, leaking runs and failing to close things out when it matters. So overall, it feels like Philadelphia has the upper hand here in their home park. As our first pick for this matchup, the Philadelphia Phillies money line is our full game side pick. Looking at the road and home splits for these starters, it's clear both guys have had moments where they've let runs pile up, which could open the door for some scoring in this one. Jack Flaherty sits at 2-5 with a hefty 6.28 earned run average and a .282 opposing batting average over 43 innings in his 9 road starts so far, showing he's vulnerable away from home, while Ranger Suarez is 3-1 with a 4.15 earned run average and a 1.44 WHIP across 39 innings in his 7 home outings heading into this matchup. Neither bullpen has been a shutdown unit this year either, with the Tigers ranking 20th in the majors at a 4.16 reliever earned run average and the Phillies not far behind at 24th with a 4.48 bullpen earned run average, meaning late innings could get messy and push the total higher if the starters don't go deep. As our second pick for this matchup, over the projected total is our full game total pick. Kansas City Royals versus Toronto Blue Jays. The Kansas City Royals, sitting at 54-55 with a 44-63-2 over-under record, are set to face off against the Toronto Blue Jays, who are 64-46 with a 59-46-5 over-under mark in the opener of a 3-game American League Series this Friday evening. It's always a grind in these divisional matchups, and both teams are looking to build some momentum as the season pushes forward. Michael Wacha has held his own overall this year, but he's taken some lumps away from home, posting a 4.53 earned run average and letting hitters bat .259 against him over 55.2 innings on the road, which means opposing lineups have found ways to make contact and drive in runs when he's pitching in unfamiliar parks. Kevin Gausman, on the other hand, has been steady no matter where he throws, including a stretch where he's given up 23 hits and 8 earned runs across his last 28.2 innings, while holding batters to a .217 average for the season. That kind of consistency has helped the Blue Jays go 9-3 in his most recent 12 starts, showing how he keeps his team in games even when the offense isn't firing on all cylinders. As our first pick for this matchup, the Toronto Blue Jays money line is our full game side pick. Even after that 9-run explosion on Wednesday, the Blue Jays haven't exactly lit it up at the plate when Gausman's on the mound, scraping by with just enough to get the job done, but often falling short of big scoring outputs. In fact, they've dipped under the total in 4 of his last 5 outings, keeping things low-key and controlled. The Royals aren't swinging the bats all that hot either, hitting a collective .244 as a team and struggling to produce much in Wacha's recent starts, where they've gone under the number in 4 of his past 5 games, suggesting pitchers are dictating the pace and limiting rallies. All signs point to this being a close, low-scoring battle where neither side breaks things wide open. As our second pick for this matchup, under the projected total is our full game total pick. San Francisco Giants versus New York Mets. The San Francisco Giants are heading to Citi Field this Friday to take on the New York Mets in what should be a solid matchup between these two National League teams. They've got some recent history that adds a bit of spice to this one, and it's always interesting when familiar foes square off like this. Not too long ago, San Francisco hosted New York out in California, and things didn't go well for the home side. The Mets rolled through with a clean sweep of the three-game set, boosting their record to 6-4 over the last 10 head-to-head clashes with the Giants. In those games, the totals have been pretty even, with the over hitting in 5, the under in 4, and 1 push, so scoring hasn't been wildly predictable, but it's kept things competitive. Robbie Ray has been lights out for the Giants this year, posting a sharp 2.93 earned run average and a 1.14 WHIP that shows he's keeping hitters off balance and limiting damage on the bases. But no matter how dominant he looks on the mound, it hasn't translated into wins given how the team has stumbled through the second half of the season. The Giants are basically seeing their playoff hopes fade away right before their eyes, with miscues and cold bats piling up at the worst time. Over on the Mets side, they're shaking off a rough series recently, but their starter David Peterson has been steady all year with a 2.83 earned run average and 1.25 WHIP overall, and he's been especially tough at home, racking up a stellar 1.91 earned run average across 61.1 innings in front of the New York crowd, where he seems to feed off that energy and shut down opposing lineups. These clubs already tangled once this 2025 season, and it was the Mets who dominated with a straight-up 3-0 sweep in that earlier meeting, especially after they beefed up their roster with some smart moves at the trade deadline, positioning New York as heavy favorites heading into this rematch with all that added depth and firepower. Looking back at their most recent 10 direct confrontations, the Mets hold a solid 6-4 edge over San Francisco, including a 3-2 advantage in the last 5 games played right here in New York. And with the kind of roll the Mets are on right now, it feels like they could pull away and cruise to a win without much drama. As our first pick for this matchup, the New York Mets money line is our full game side pick. Games after a Giants loss this season have trended toward the under, sitting at 30 to 20-4, which suggests their bats stay quiet when they're trying to rebound from a defeat. These teams only managed to scratch out 3 total runs the last time these exact starters went head-to-head on July 26th out in San Francisco, and I'm figuring we'll see something close to that again this Friday since both offenses have struggled to produce against left-handed pitching all year. Plus, each side is mired in a losing skid that sapped their momentum. Do I think either lineup is going to suddenly explode and turn things around big time in this spot? Not really convinced, as they've both been grinding through slumps without much pop. Throw in the fact that Ray and Peterson have a pair of top 10 bullpens behind them to lock down the late innings, and this game shapes up to be a real pitcher's duel with limited fireworks and low scores all around. As our second pick for this matchup, under the projected total is our full game total pick. That's all for now, so if you have any other games you would like reviewed, then leave a comment down below with the game you would like analyzed. Subscribe to our channel, leave a like on this video, and we'll get to it as soon as we possibly can. We would also love to hear your opinion on the picks presented to you in this video, whether you agree or disagree with them, so leave a comment down below and do let us know.